Hi everyone, my name is Tracy and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to go over what a spiritual awakening means to me, and basically it's really hard to put in words. So I will share my experience of what I went through and how I feel now that I've been awakened. And basically, you never really see the world ever the same way. Everything changes. You start to feel a greater sense of connection to nature, to yourself. Well, first and foremost to yourself. And then you start to see others as another aspect of you. You see animals in a totally different light. It's not just like, like pets are the only kind of animals that shouldn't be brutally slaughtered in the animal agriculture industry. You kind of see every animal equal, down to the insects. And then you just never really are ever the same. And you're so thankful. I don't know anybody who's ever, felt a spiritual awakening and then kind of go back to the way they used to be. It's unheard of. It doesn't happen. So I am so thankful, and everybody awakens in a different way, and it's usually the most common one, I guess, is you suffer tremendously before you feel like you're reborn. Another way is through psychedelics, and then another way is basically being influenced by a family or friend, and they talk about this esoteric stuff, and then if it resonates with you and it sparks your interest, then it's like boom, the door is opened, and you kind of just go down the rabbit hole. But what my experience was definitely lots and lots of pain and suffering, physically, emotionally, spiritually, because I lost all connection, it got to the point where I was basically suicidal because I had absolutely nothing. And I'll share my story with you very briefly. It's a long story, but overall it shows just how many steps it took to get to this magnificent state of being. I feel like I'm always riding a really high wave, and even when things happen, you have this understanding that it's all part of the process. They're all lessons, and you just are in the flow. You just go with the flow, and you never blame others for your mistakes. And so back in 2017, I had so much going on all at once. I would say that the first negative thing that happened, everything is a lesson, like I said, so I don't like to, add this label. But, when I finally split with my partner, who I was on and off with we were together for a total of 10 years, but we finally split for good in 2017. And that was really, really hard to, try to move on, because this person is the father of my kid. So that would be the first unfortunate event. And then I started feeling ill. I first started with stomach problems, and it was so bad that I really couldn't digest my food. I was running to the bathroom all the time, and I was not working. I started working once I guess you can say got used to it, but I didn't eliminate the problem yet. I'll get to that in a second. But first, I break up for good with my partner. Then I get ill. I have major stomach problems. Then I go through a financial crisis, and I can't see no way out. And then I move out, right, because we're no longer together. And because I'm in such a financial rut, he ended up keeping our child because I literally couldn't afford to have him. So he was much better off financially at the time. So he ended up keeping our son, so I didn't have my son either. And after that is when I developed this major throat problem where it got to the point where I couldn't eat / swallow without being in tremendous pain. I lost my voice, and then I couldn't breathe. And then I lost my car. I kept doing numerous repairs to this one car I used to have, and finally it broke down for good. So I had to commute to one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago, in the South Side, about 2 to 2.5 hours in public transportation, and that's just one way, and then another 2 to 2.5 coming back home. So yeah, it was just like I lost everything down to my health. You know, I didn't have my son. When I moved out, I was like in a roommate situation because I couldn't afford my own apartment. So then I was just going from room to room because there would be the roommates were not ideal. So I don't know. I mean, it's no one's problem. I don't know if I was a problem. I don't know if they were the problem. But all I knew is that I was very uncomfortable in one situation after another. That I ended up moving a total of 4 times. I think I moved 4 times in like a matter of 6 or 8 months. But it was really, really bad. And when I couldn't breathe properly and I went to the ER and they basically said like, sorry, we can't help you. We don't know how to help you. I just wanted to give up. And I had such a hard time sleeping. I've always been a sensitive sleeper, but then especially when I got ill, I started to drink myself to sleep. You know, I would just pass out because I couldn't handle having only 2 to 3 hours and then just waking up to this major discomfort. Oh, that's another thing is that while I was at work, I had to like literally hold my head like this all day long in order to not feel like this like weird sensation going from my throat to my head, because it would rise and my head would start pulsating, and then I would get this headache, and I would just have a headache from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep if I'm not in that angle. And I explained this like in one of my first few videos, but if you haven't seen it, like that's basically what I went through. So I was suffering in every single way possible to the point where I just wanted to die. And my roommates don't know this, but I would just like sometimes like sit in my room and just like hold this bottle of bleach because I just wanted out so bad from all the suffering. So fast forward, once I went through all of that, I ended up, I think the first thing was turning to a plant-based diet, because that was the first thing. It's like when you are in a depression, obviously, well, I'm not sure. Okay, so what I'm saying is that like, it's the physical suffering that is intolerable the most. So when I needed to get rid of this first. I wanted to breathe comfortably again without so much effort. So that was the first thing that I started tackling. Is I started doing my research, and I did my research for maybe 3 months, because I was just in such major disbelief that a plant-based diet could save people's lives from diabetes, high blood pressure, dementia, reverse these illnesses that we like to believe are genetic, and only either 10 or 20%. Most of the studies that I've seen say 10 to 20, but it's a really, really low number. But we tend to blame our genetics for the illnesses. And so first I went plant-based. After reading about it for so long, I finally went plant-based, and literally in 30 days, that thing was basically gone. I stopped feeling those sensations, and that was the first thing that eliminated. Second was I was finally out of my financial rut. I could finally afford to live on my own and have my son. So that was the next step. Then I purchased a car. Then basically everything I lost down to my health, I regained all within, a few months. Like I said, that period lasted like a good 8 months, I would say. Yeah, because that happened like in November of 2017. And then by May, like right around my birthday, is when I moved into the new apartment. And by that time I had my health and obviously money. So basically it's like, it was all a lesson. Like I went through so much and then that brought me to spirituality. I started, like, I would cry waking up because I was just like, I can breathe. I have a roof over my head that is mine. And I have my son waking up next to me, and everything that people take for granted nowadays, I guess I did. I never took my health for granted, so that was a bit of a shocker when I got sick, because I've always been a health freak and fitness is my passion and stuff, and I thought I was eating healthy enough by eating like chicken salads and intermittent fasting and, things like that, but apparently it wasn't enough. But anyway, I did take other things for granted. I always thought that I was like owed for some reason. I grew up, okay, so I had my family and stuff, so that's not wealth to me. So when I say that I grew up wealthy, I mean like I had great friends, I had my family that was very loving and supportive, and, for the most part, the relationship with my ex-partner was good, and so forth. So I thought I had it all, and so I didn't really appreciate just how good I had it, and I guess this awakening just like threw it in my face. It was like an abrupt, very rude awakening to show me that I need to start appreciating things that are in my life already instead of always wanting more. So yeah. And so nowadays I have this like routine. These are just like habits at this point, and there are things that I never did, like for example blessing my food before eating. I really do speak from the heart whenever I'm thanking God or the universe, whatever you want to refer this divine power as. I started blessing my food, and I wake up and I'm already thankful, like especially because what is it, the alpha state that your brain is still in when you wake up. So like that's like when it's like that's the best time to meditate and to I don't want to say ask, because technically what you want to do is already be in a state of as is, like it already happened. So I would say thank you, God. Like the moment I wake up, I thank my higher spirit for leading me here. I thank God or the universe for waking me up in perfect health, for all the abundance that I'm surrounded in and everything. And it just keeps on, you get more and more. The more gratitude you show, the more you get of that. So, I could go on and I would break it down one day, but basically that's what a spirituality, that's like the before and after. And like I said, it's not, people can bring this to your attention, but it's not something that I would say that you provoke. It kind of just happens, and every soul has their own path to walk on. So it's not something that can necessarily be shoved down somebody's throat, I guess you can say. So it just happens, and when it's your time, you definitely know. Like, I am so different than what I was 3 years ago. And like I said, like if I knew that all that suffering, all those painful events I went through, if I knew that they were going to leave me here, I would do it again in a heartbeat. And so that's why I'm thankful that I was given this blessing. That's how I see it. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And thank you for watching. And I will see you guys on the next video. Much love and peace. Bye-bye.